June 27th, 2011, that CM Punk cut that iconic Pipebomb promo on Raw. I remember watching it live with my brother, my older brother, neither of whom, my younger brother at one point did watch wrestling with me, so he kind of appreciated the promo somewhat. My older brother had no idea what was going on, but like in the best way possible. The show went off the air that night abruptly, and he was like, what just happened? Like, because CM Punk name dropped New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, he name dropped Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman. My brother knows Brock Lesnar, so it was a cool moment. I remember him watching it with me for whatever reason, and he was as starstruck as I was, even me being a wrestling fan. And it's really hard to shock wrestling fans nowadays, and especially 8 years ago as well. But CM Punk did just that with that promo that closed out Raw 8 years ago today. And it's crazy to think that it's been almost a decade since that promo happened. But I don't think anyone can tell you, honestly, that they knew in that moment the impact that promo would have on the entire wrestling world in the years that followed. Like, it would have a pretty cool impact on Raw in the weeks that followed, leading up to CM Punk's amazing WWE Championship match with John Cena at Money in the Bank in Chicago, one of my favorite matches in WWE wrestling history. But honestly, I still say to this day, that promo accomplished way more than anyone gives it credit for. People will sit there and tell you, oh, he promised this, he promised that, we never got that, they accomplished that well after he was gone. But the fact of the matter is this, if it was not for CM Punk, I would credit CM Punk as being the beginning for the rises, the real catalyst for the pushes for guys like Daniel Bryan. In not even the years that followed, the months that followed. And it may be a pure coincidence, but on the same night that CM Punk became WWE Champion and Money in the Bank, Daniel Bryan won the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match to earn a future title shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, his reign was not the greatest, but that set forth heel Daniel Bryan, the yes chant, and the guy's been a main event player ever since. So I think CM Punk and his promo had a lot to do with that and how WWE views top stars even today. Today, it's a whole fucking indie-rific roster in WWE. We have Seth Rollins as the Universal Champion. Kofi Kingston wasn't really from the Indies, but he's not exactly a big guy. Kofi Kingston was great friends with CM Punk for the better part of CM Punk's run in WWE. Not to say that Punk was the reason why Kofi became champion, obviously far from it, but Kofi would not have been champion 8 years ago, at least not in my opinion. Dolph Ziggler became world champion about a year or two later when he cashed in Money in the Bank. We've had so many people that aren't exactly the stereotypical superstar become champion in the last 8 years, and in my opinion, of course, in addition to their own talent, because of CM Punk. I think CM Punk and his promo that night and everything he accomplished during that summer of Punk in 2011, I think that had a lot to do with what we see today in WWE. Not the bad product, but I'm talking about, smaller people getting a chance to succeed. And not every time, not every smaller wrestler will become world champion. I don't think Cedric Alexander will ever become WWE Universal Champion. I think he could be, but not every cruiserweight guy or every guy that's, 180 pounds is going to become a world champion in WWE. But at least those people are getting more opportunities now than they were even 10 years ago. So it's a cool time to kind of reminisce on the WWE, on the wrestling industry on a whole, looking back at that promo 8 years ago today to see how much has really changed. And again, the product may be as bad now as it was 8 years ago, arguably worse. We have way more content. Raw's 3 hours now. SmackDown's live. We have 205 live. NXT is bigger than it used to be 8 years ago by a long shot. There's just so much content. We have the network now compared to 8 years ago. But I think the wrestling industry as a whole has really benefited from that promo. Not to just sit here and praise CM Punk for the entire hour. We have plenty of other things to talk about here in today's WrestleRant Radio. But it's always cool to go back and watch that promo every year on the 27th, on June 27th, and think like, wow, things have really changed. Again, some for the better, some for the worse. But it is cool to see how far WWE has come in regards to who they see as top stars. Rollins and Kofi are the current world champions in WWE. It doesn't get any more, there really isn't any more proof in the pudding than that with who we have as world champions right now compared to 8 years ago. I think at that time we had Randy Orton and John Cena I think they were the World Heavyweight and WWE champions respectively in the company at that point. So, again, I think we've come a long way from where we were 8 years ago. In some ways, better than others. But again, go back and check out that promo. It's still a pretty remarkable promo. Even in an age now where we've seen, heard, and experienced everything as fans, it's still cool to go back and watch a promo like that. Because even today, if we saw a promo like that be cut on Raw, we'd be like, holy shit, like, I don't know if this is real, and, you know, I don't know if this is part of the show. Where is this going? Is there some truth to what he's saying here? And there was. And again, that really opened the doors for me as well, in my opinion anyway, for more realistic promos to be cut on Raw. I feel like they kind of go to that well too often sometimes, actually, where they try to blur the lines between reality and storyline, and it makes for more compelling television. More realistic storylines is what WWE needs.